Hey everybody, Jake here, and today we're going to take a look at the Noodler's Konrad Acrylic Flex Pen. Beautiful, beautiful pen. This is on loan to me from a friend. Um, so shout out to Josh again. He provided the ink that I did this week and this pen as well. So I'm very grateful to him for that. And it's a very nice pen to check out. Love the material on this. It is beautiful. Now, one thing to note: this does not have the flex nib on it, which we'll get to later. It does have a TWSBI broad nib. So just keep that in mind for the review. I'll try not to put too much emphasis on that. On to some specifications. So overall close length is going to be 141 millimeters. So it's pretty decent length close, not too long though. Open length, not counting the nib, so just length of the body, is going to be 131 millimeters. So pretty decent writing. For posting it. Not this nib, but the nib that comes with it is 22 millimeters. Length of the cap is 63 millimeters, and overall length posted is 155 millimeters. You'll notice that's only about 20 millimeters or so longer than the length of just the body. Overall weight is 17 grams. The cap is 6, body is 11. All right, let's go ahead and get into some size comparisons. So here it is next to, from top to bottom, ugly yellow kit pen, TWSBI 580 all, and a Lamy Lux in rose gold. So you can see it's very similar to the length of the TWSBI when closed. It's very nice, not too big, not too small. Open, it stays right up there with the TWSBI and the Lamy. Hangs in really, really well. Very usable pen unposted in my opinion. Sits in my hand decently well. It could stand to be a little bit more substantial, but that's why I like it when it posts. It posts very, very deeply, which makes it shorter than every other pen here while it's posted. But I actually appreciate the posting on this a lot. So let's go on to the like. First thing's definitely this material. It is just gorgeous. The depth and color and the kind of shimmer to this acrylic resin material, whatever it is immaculate. It's fantastic looking. The red and blue contrast so well. Some parts of the pen are kind of matte, some are that shiny, deep swirl kind of look. Very, very nice material. It says acrylic obviously in the name, the Noodler's Konrad Acrylic, but on Goulet it lists resin. Either way, it's a plastic made in sheets, but it's beautiful. Love it. On to the next thing I like, the ink capacity. This holds about 1.5 milliliters of ink, a little bit more. And it has a really big ink window, which I also like to help show you. This pen's about halfway full, so it's really, really nice. Makes it a lot easier and more confident when you're using it. You can see when you're running low. Very visible, clear, see-through. It does break up the look a little bit, but it's not too bad. Next thing that I like a lot is the clip. Very springy, without feeling weak or like it's going to break or anything. No issue going over shirt pocket or like jean pocket material. Very, very flexible kind of clip. Next thing I like a lot is the posting. This posts super deeply, like I said a minute ago, and because of how light this pen, it doesn't backweight it. So you can see there it posts just about to the end of the clip there, very deep. And the last thing I like about this pen quite a bit is the size, posted or unposted really. It's a fantastic size. It's not too small. Good for me. It is a little bit larger than the Noodler's Nib Creeper and a little bit smaller than the Ahab. So if you have either one of those, keep that in mind. This is a kind of middle ground pen. I'd say it's closer to the Ahab by far than the Nib Creeper. The Nib Creeper is very small. But the size of this pen is really, really nice, and I like that as well. On to the neutral. First thing is going to be the section. The diameter isn't bad. It's about 10 millimeters. I wish it were a little bit bigger and more contoured. It is a little flat to hold. It reminds me a lot of like the Pilot Petite one, Platinum Preppy, stuff like that. So that bothers me just a tiny bit. Next thing is the price. This pen's $40. You'll see in a moment why I'm kind of about that, but it's not bad for the material. That's really what you're paying for. Alright, on to the dislike. Very first thing, the thing I dislike probably the most, is the piston knob. It is very, very narrow. It does have some sort of texturing to help you grip it, but it's very narrow. The piston can be a little stiff before you lubricate it, so it's just a little hard to operate. Here it is next to the TWSBI 580 all piston knob, and you can see what I mean by how small it is. It's a little rough on my fingers trying to grip something that small and twisting it back and forth. Not so bad when filling the pen, but cleaning the pen is a bit of a hassle. Next thing is the nib and the nib fit. The default nib that comes with this, I hate it. I would swap it out in a heartbeat if I were you. And you can see how it fits in here. It's very friction fit. So on a lot of Noodler's pens, you can swap out the nib. This one you have to be a bit more careful. There's some Goulet videos on it, so you can check that out. Next thing I dislike, this material should line up like I'm going to show you here, or at least in my opinion. See how one whole side is shiny, and then when you turn it, it's matte. Well, when you actually twist down everything, this is what you get. It's misaligned, matches on the back cap, or the blind cap and the actual pen cap, but not the body. It's kind of infuriating to me. Next thing is how many times you have to turn the cap to get it off. It is actually about 2.5 turns. It doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're trying to use this pen in a hurry, you're gonna notice how painfully slow it is for you to turn it. Back to the nib real quick. I do have the original nib for this, but it was damaged. So my writing sample is going to be with this TWSBI broad nib. Alright, on to a quick conclusion before we jump into the writing sample. This is a very nice pen. Again, I love the material on it. It's just gorgeous, but it doesn't feel like a $40 pen, if that makes any sense. The build quality is not terrible by any means. It's fit and finish is great, but in between the piston and the default nib, I just don't consider this very much of a value. I'm just going to go ahead and talk over this writing sample as well. This is with, again, a TWSBI broad nib. The ink is Diamine Pink Glitz. So it's part of the Shimmertastic line. Love this ink, and I think it complements the pen material very well. But if you're picking up this pen and you expect to write with it every day and not just use it for flex, I would pick up another nib. Now, the Noodler's nibs are perfectly capable of writing without flex if you don't apply any pressure. They are a little scratchy, in my experience. They're very cheap nibs, too, though. So if you break one, you can pick one up for a couple of dollars. Most other nibs are about $15 for a steel nib. So if that's something that you're wanting to use this for a regular writing pen, go ahead and figure that into the cost. But with a new nib, this pen writes very well. The feel on the hand's a little off for me, and the price is a little off, but it's not terrible. Alright, thanks for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep an eye out for some upcoming reviews and videos. Thanks, guys. Bye.